Hello, and welcome to our very first lesson of ancient Greece. Today we're going to be talking about none other than geography. Yes, I said it. Geography. Well, alright. Let's get started, shall we? Let's go. Alright. Well, we have two major physical features. Alright. Number one, you got the mountains. Number two, you got the seas. Mountains and seas. That's the bee's knees. Alright, I'm going to stop with that. Yikes. Anyways, as I was saying, let's talk about the mountains. The mountains. So there was a major mountain range called the Pindus of northern Greece. Alright, so Mount Olympus happens to be the highest mountain in Greece, or the northernmost border of ancient Greece. Alright, so it kind of covered that whole kind of region. 75% of Greece was actually covered in mountains. Alright, so just kind of think how that could have had an effect on Greece itself. Mr. Krabs would not be a happy little camper because he wouldn't be making a lot of money there. Alright, so it'd be a little tough. You'd have to travel through the Rocky Mountains and all that kind of stuff. So it could restrict some trade and making some money. So we're going to go for the next thing, the effects of mountains. Alright, so one, rocky soil made it very, very hard to farm. Okay, if you're trying to farm in rocks, it doesn't really work very well. Alright, so only 20% of the land was good for farming. Alright, so that means that they're not going to have much food. Alright, they were forced to concentrate basically on a few key crops, just a few, like olives, barley, and grapes. Alright, so barley was their kind of way of making bread, and they have olives for like olive oil and all that kind of stuff. It's making me hungry right now. Thinking about bread and olive oil. Anyways, okay. So, oh yes, the terrain was good for herding goats, however, and sheep. Oh, lamb chops. Sorry, I am a little hungry. Anyways, number two, difficult for travel. All right, so the mountains made it very difficult to travel over. Could you imagine hiking over mountains all day, going up big steep hills? I think my legs would fall off, to be honest. But so they had to like kind of develop isolated cities, because you couldn't just build a road up a mountain and make it really easy for people to go through. All right, from one place to another. So they had to have isolated city-states in order to kind of live their lives. All right, most of the mountains provided protection from other civilizations as well, though. Okay, so if you were like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be big brain, I'm gonna settle on top of this mountain because people can't come and attack us because they'd have to go up the hill, and then we can see them and we can shoot bows at them, stuff like that. All right, that was the kind of big brain play back in the day. Man, I am just on a rhyme and roll. Whew. Let's see what we got next. We got the seas now. All right, so we talked about the mountains. Now we're going to talk about the seas. Altogether, ancient Greece geographies. I'm doing pretty good on this rhyme and stuff. All right, moving on. There were three seas. Three seas. The Mediterranean Sea. All right, we had the Aegean Sea, and lastly, the Ionian Sea. All right, so these three seas were kind of how they did most of their trading and all that kind of stuff. All right, so ancient Greece had long coastlines, all right, all the way around Greece was a giant coastline. All right, so seas kind of linked most parts of Greece together. Okay, so you could travel from one area to another, or travel from ancient Greece over to like Egypt or somewhere over around there. Okay, now most populations were on the coast, kind of like Australia today. Australia, most of the population is on the coast. Fun fact. All right. So most big cities in ancient Greece would be located by the kind of the coastlines. Okay, it allowed them to trade, it allowed them to fish, all that kind of good stuff. All right. Lastly, all right, this central location around the Mediterranean Sea was like huge. All right. They were neighbored. They basically had a lot of neighbors, stuff like that they could trade with. They went to war with, all this kind of stuff. Okay, so it was a big, big, big deal to be kind of smack dab right in the middle of everything. All right, so the effects of the seas, they influenced the way of life, fishermen, and, the thing I absolutely love doing because I have the patience to sit there for an hour and not catch anything. I'm being sarcastic, of course. I hate to fish. I don't have the patience for it. And sailors. Now, that is fun. I do like going out on boats and driving boats. Okay, so that kind of influenced the way of life. There was a lot of fishermen and a lot of sailors, stuff like that had to do with the water. Okay, seas and the central Mediterranean location encouraged trade with other countries. Okay, so it allowed them to trade certain things to other countries if they were on the coast. If they weren't on the coast, well, they're kind of isolated. All right. So some of the things they traded were olive oil, wine, wool, and pottery. Okay. They bought a lot of grain, timber, and animal hides. All right. They lived in the mountains. There wasn't very much wood or anything like that, so they had to buy that. Okay. And they couldn't really make a lot of grain and stuff like that, so they had to buy that as well. Okay, because grain comes from wheat. All right, you can, and remember they only had 20% farmland. All right, so they needed a lot more food for all their people. All right, no one likes to go without food. Trust me, I can barely do it for a day. Well, all right, that is all the time we have today, guys. I will talk to you later. I hope you enjoyed, and you know what? I'll see you guys on the flip sides. Man, I am really just rhyming.